You're in the VIP section of Black Women in Radio, the podcast, a decade of the new woman. I'm your host, Felicia Love, along with our special guest,
Beyonce! Or I should say we for Black Women in Radio. I am so thrilled to get you on. You've been a busy woman, even with COVID. I mean, goodness, because I've talked to so many of us who, are working from home now, but that doesn't mean that you're lounging.
No, not at all. I mean, actually, the pace kind of picked up a little bit more because more is expected of you because you can't necessarily attend a meeting in person or what have you. So busy, but you know what? I love it.
I love it too. I do love a taste of, the home life, but I miss socializing. I didn't realize I'd miss it so much, but I do.
Yeah, I do too. I'm not going to lie. I mean, I absolutely love people, being around people, going out, doing different things, hosting events and, just being out and about. And we just have to be so careful though, because this COVID is no joke. And now they're saying there's going to be a resurgence of it. So we have to really, really look at the bigger picture and say, okay, do I want to go out now, have a good time and then regret it later? Or do I just want to stay in, continue to do what I'm doing? And hopefully this thing will pass and we'll have a vaccine by the fall. I don't know, but yeah, I'm ready to get on a plane. I'm ready to go to an island.
What?
I'm a traveler. And the fact that I've been in Illinois for the last year and a half, I'm like, but it is what it is, you know?
Oh man, I feel the same way. And last vacation that I at least saw, last vacation you shared, I'll put it that way, was Jamaica, wasn't it?
I've had several since then. It was Jamaica.
Okay,
but I've
Jamaica.
had a couple since. Yeah, I don't always post everywhere.
I know. That's why I said that's the last one that I recognized.
You know
anyway.
what? But you know what? You're about right, because it was around that time. That was the last time I had taken, not necessarily that Jamaica trip, but a couple trips thereafter. Shortly thereafter, those were the last, and that was like April of 19, and we're in July of 2020. I need a vacation.
And some water.
Small trips, though.
Yes. Well, I will say that I am thrilled. I was visiting Chicago over the holidays, and I am so thrilled to have had an opportunity to meet you in person and share a meal. It was so much fun. Little did I know that was the last little bit of socializing I would do after the Black Women in Radio event in Atlanta. That was in, was that March? Yeah, that was March. And then COVID
That
hit.
was in March? Oh,
We
wow.
barely made it.
Whoa, yeah, March.
That is insane. Now, I'm going to go there. You mentioned just a little while ago what it was like, with COVID, and I totally get that. I'm a single woman. It has not been fun in terms of not being able to socialize. So this is what I'm trying to figure out. What is the dating scene going to be like now? I mean, is it going to be like, here's my medical report? What is it? What are we looking at here?
Now, that's a good point. No, I think it's going to be the same. And I think relationships are going to improve because people have been settled in at home and they know what it's like to be quarantined and not to be able to socialize as much. So I actually think relationships are going to improve. I think they're going to be a little bit more comprehensive and a little bit more stable, if you will.
Do you think because we've had time out, we've had time out and maybe time to reflect on what we really, really want in a relationship? You think that is the reason why?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I've got some male friends that actually have come clean and said, you know what, I'm ready to settle down. I realize that I can't do this by myself. If you're a single guy and you're at home during a quarantine, you got to wash your own clothes. You got to cook your own meals. You need that companionship as well. So I have heard from a couple of my friends who are in their late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, and even 50 and up saying, wow, I'm ready to settle. So,
well, shoot, is that what we needed all this time?
Yay for quarantine.
I know, because truly, when you are in your element, you're doing your thing, you're making your money, you're meeting the people you want to meet, you've got your environment the way you would like it. why not date a gazillion people? But hindsight with quarantine, it's like, okay, who were the quality people that I've had an opportunity to meet?
Yes, exactly right. Exactly right. So you tend to get a different perspective when you're thrown into a certain situation. So I think it's going to be a plus. I really do.
Well, if you put it that way, there's hope.
There's always hope, Felicia. Always
I
hope.
was like, this whole physical thing, how do you meet? How do you approach people?
Yeah. Oh, trust me, the fellas are still trying to holler, though. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, totally.
You got to still go to the grocery store. You still got to run your errands. They're still out here like, hey, little mama.
Yes.
So it still exists.
Exactly. But I have to tell you, I have had my head down and, making eye contact a few times and just trying to figure out, what is this going to be like? How do I go past, nice to meet you, a few telephone calls and everything. But I am one that loves love languages. I love talking about it. I love finding out what people's love language is. Mine is physical touch. And human nature is physical touch. I mean, seriously. Yeah. But I'm like, well, dang, how do you get a kiss? How's that going to work?
Especially with the mask on, right? Don't forget the mask piece. Right.
Can't even see a smile.
What does he really look like? I see a profile, but what does he look like under that mask? Yeah.
Does he have his teeth in? No, I'm kidding.
Well, hey,
but you never know.
You never know. Good question.
I was watching, I don't know, one of these shows on Netflix. I forgot which one. It has to do with real estate agents in LA. Okay. And I love the show because it just shows, the best of Hollywood and the homes and everything. But anyway, one of the girls was dating a hockey player who does not have his teeth. I mean, he's like in his early 30s or something.
Oh yeah, they get knocked out pretty quick.
Yeah, and there was this, this big to do about, what do you mean you would date a guy with no teeth? And she's like, well, he's an athlete. Well, yeah.
Oh my.
Yeah, I don't know if
I mean, I'm sure he has false teeth, though, right? He doesn't walk around with false teeth.
But the question is, does he have them on under that mask when they're like hollering at you?
Yeah. I would hope so. I
just messed it up for myself. There's a whole nother visual I didn't need to see. Oh my goodness. Tell me about your radio journey. I know, it's amazing how many people, and I'm sure you've gotten this a gazillion times, they assume that, once you make it in a recognizable position in radio, that you, poof, just landed there.
Oh gosh, no.
There's quite a journey.
I have to be honest with you. My journey was quite a blessing because here is a girl who worked in corporate America who had absolutely no radio experience whatsoever. I didn't know what a cart was. I didn't know what certain things were at all. I did have experience in entertainment, though. I used to sing professionally, as a teen and my early adulthood. So I knew about the entertainment industry, but I didn't know a stitch about radio. So driving down the street one day, and I heard a commercial say, we are looking for on-air radio personalities. Please send in a demo. So me, already familiar with studio life from singing, I went to a studio and I just emulated what I heard, the DJs. I gave a little weather report, an entertainment report, said my name, all of that. I submitted that demo on a Tuesday. That following Thursday, like 2 days later, Felicia, I got a phone call saying, we have your demo. We'd like for you to come in for an interview. Came in for the interview the following week. 20 years later, I'm still doing radio.
20 years later. I love it.
Mine was pretty much a blessing. It was almost like God said, okay, I'm going to give you this position, but I need you to do certain things in this position. So he blessed me with this radio career. That wasn't even like my intent. I'm thinking, oh, maybe I can get a weekend gig and still do my corporate America job. Nope, took me out of that fully gave me radio. And again, here I am 20 years later, still loving it. Like it was day
Amazing.
one. Yep.
That is amazing. And you're celebrating an anniversary, which is so exciting.
Yes, 20 years. I cannot even believe it. It went so fast.
It really
20
does.
years just flew by. I mean, honestly, I'm thinking maybe 10, 12, but 20?
Mm-hmm.
That's quite a milestone.
That is a milestone. That is a milestone. And one that I think a lot of people experience kind of in their careers on and off, you know, and we look at a whole collective, but, you know, that's pretty darn wonderful. Especially hindsight with, you know, radio changing so much. Each decade, it, you know, it has a different feel. And how did you navigate those transitions in your career?
Well, you just have to pretty much go with the flow. You know what I mean?
Right?
I'm constantly, because again, I came from corporate America, promotions, public relations. So I have the knowledge and the skill already, the radio experience. So you just have to constantly think ahead, know what's trending, know how to operate equipment, know how to do social media, all of those things. You just have to be innovative and creative and continue to reinvent, basically.
That is
not
the key.
Not change,
but
reinvent. Yeah, I'm still the same girl I was in 2000 when I was working part-time at WGCI in Chicago. Still the same person. Nothing's going to change, but what changes is what's around you. But my heart and I have stayed the same. Nothing changed.
Honey, that's a conversation in itself as to how to maintain that, really, because we're in an industry or in a lifetime where so many things will sway you and your ideas, and, you know, but we do have to be protective about our values. And then even when the values change a little bit, hopefully for the better, upgrading, it benefits you as a person, you know, spiritual growth and personal development and all of that, which now I know about, but 20 years ago, I didn't know anything about personal development. You know, it was all about chasing a degree or chasing a job. So how have you grown? I know you said you haven't changed much inside, but how have you grown spiritually, you know, with all of the changes?
Oh my gosh, you mean recently with the pandemic and such, or just in general?
Well, that pandemic sure slapped us in the face with the spiritual lesson, didn't it? But any way you want to approach it is fine. Yeah.
You know what? I've always had a relationship with the Lord. I am a Christian, and I'm proud to say that I am a Christian. Grew up in a Christian household, and I like to grow closer with the Lord as much as possible, you know, read the word and do things that he would be pleased with. And again, I honestly feel in my heart that the Lord has blessed me with the position that I'm in, so that I can do that, so that I can say an encouraging word, so that I can enlighten someone, lift someone's spirit, you know, in between the songs, say something that would make someone smile or encourage them to do better and be better. So I look at my position like as a ministry, if you will. I mean, not to be corny or on some religious high horse, because it's certainly not that, but I look at it as ministry because I love people. I love talking to people. I love saying a kind word, doing a great deed for people. And that's why I sit here, because I had a different plan, but God said, nope, I need you right here in Chicago, right here at the station, doing what I need you to do. My plan was totally different. Like 5-6 years ago, I had the plan to continue to pursue my career in television, which is like one of my first loves. I've always wanted to be like a TV anchor or a red carpet reporter or something like that.
I could see that. Could totally see that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. But he had something else for me. And I said, okay, Lord, it's not my will, but it's yours. And here I am doing what he wants me to do on the daily. And I love every minute of it. So my spiritual growth, it's pretty much always been intact. However, you can always learn more. You can always grow deeper. you can always do so much. You can always improve on your spiritual walk. And that's what I do daily. Try to get closer and closer and nearer and do those things that he wants me to do. Because once you make that promise, like I promise, Lord, you better live up to all the promises that were made. You must.
That's right. That is right. And how many people do you know? Well, me included. I throw myself in there. I'm guilty of saying, Lord, if you just help me with A, B, C, I will do X, Y, Z. You know, and you just have to remember those promises, because it's interesting, because everybody gets ebbs and flows in life.
Yes.
You know, valleys and peaks, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're in the valley, that's when you remember, oh, I did say I was going to do X, Y, Z.
Yes.
So, like you said, it behooves you to follow up with your promises, and it's truly an anchor. You know, spirituality has absolutely been an anchor in my life. I don't know where I would be without a connection to God or higher power.
Yes.
I am not affiliated with a particular religion, but I'm extraordinarily spiritual, and I love experiencing other cultures and their religions, and I love that.
Me too.
Yeah.
I actually studied Judaism.
You did?
Yeah, I have a certification. Yeah, I have certification in it, and I even thought about pursuing more education in Judaism. I've always been intrigued with the religion, and in addition to that, just, you know, my father is a minister, my brother is a minister, both of my sisters have graduated from seminary, so we have a religious base in the family, and we just like to, you know, delve in and see what other cultures are like. Like I said, I'm not one of those Christians that's, you know, scripture quoting and Bible toting. That's not the way that I do things, but I do love the Lord. I'm grateful for all the opportunities and the blessings that he has given me. Don't get it twisted. It has been work, you know. People are always like, oh, you got it made. You got it. No, I worked. I got up many years at 2 a.m. to go to work, and, you know, working 2 and 3 jobs at a time. So you do have to put in work. Nothing comes easy in life. And people have to realize that when they see people in certain positions, you know,
there's an assumption.
They've worked hard for that. Yep. Absolutely.
I've heard this quoted many times. Don't ever be jealous of someone, because you do not know their journey. And oftentimes when you find out what it would require to walk their walk, you go the other way.
Exactly.
Like,
there's no such thing as overnight success either. A lot of people are like, oh my God, must be nice they did that overnight. There is no such thing as overnight success. People have put in work, and they've worked hard to get what they've accomplished.
And, you know, I think that a lot of that work is internal. A lot of that work is spiritual, having faith, having, you know, the confidence, having, if you don't have a family or, you know, a circle of friends that are holding you up, you know, how do you've got to do that on your own. So it's not like, you know, just go to this session or, you know, this interview and bam, you get the job. Even after you get the job, have you noticed this? Even after you get it, then it's like, whoa, this is a responsibility. What do I do with that? You still have to make an adjustment, right?
You still have to make an adjustment, period. I mean, you have to go with what's happening at that moment, you know, and like I said, you have to trend ahead. You have to kind of look and see, well, this may happen, so therefore I need to start doing this so that I'm prepared if this takes place. Yep, it's a constant change, constant.
You know, that is... Public relations and marketing are 2 tools that are absolutely required now in the world of radio. And it's interesting because once you become a radio personality, back in the day, the radio station would back you and push you and do all of the advertisement and tell you where to go and all of that. And in essence, creating the brand. But now you have to come as a brand.
Yes.
Right. And you don't know which way to go if you don't have some kind of understanding as to how to propel that and how to sustain it. Do you have any tips you might want to share with
Well, you
anyone that's
just
listening?
mentioned you have to pretty much nowadays come as a brand. A lot of times people really probably won't look at you, take you that seriously if you aren't already established. Now, that's not to say if you just graduated college and you're interested in a career in broadcasting that you won't be given an opportunity, because I certainly was not known in radio. I had no experience whatsoever, and someone took a chance on me. I had faith, and I had someone who was willing to take a chance on someone with absolutely no radio experience, and they kind of developed me. And again, you kind of have a little bit of natural talent as well thrown in, so that kind of helps. But you have to brand yourself. I cannot stress it enough. Social media, what you do on social media, people are constantly looking at that. What you do in the community is very important. What you do in your place of worship, your place of employment, people look at all of these things, and no matter what you do, whether it was 2 or 3 years ago, people can still dig stuff up. I mean, we hear that about the celebrities all the time,
Right.
about things that they did back in the day and how it can affect them today. So it's just very important that you take yourself seriously and your brand seriously, and you go for what you know. But you got to be careful when it comes to certain things, because the smallest thing can tarnish that very brand that you work so hard to build.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Let's take it a step further, Beyonce. Say, for instance, there are, and there have been across the country, YouTubers that have become radio personalities. Some, flourish, while others sink. And they sink because there's a certain skill set that they're not privy to. Could you kind of do a comparison contrast with, what a YouTuber would need to know, or podcaster, anyone out there that's interested in doing radio? What is it beside the brand that you really have to come with in order to succeed in this business?
Well, you got to come with passion, because a lot of times it can be difficult. It can be grueling. It could be long hours. It could be doing stuff that you don't necessarily want to do. But what you basically have to come with is a skill set. I mean, you have to know how to communicate to different walks of life. You can't just be complacent and in a zone that all you know is, how to apply makeup. If you're a YouTuber that does those tutorials, you got to be pretty much a little well-read. You have to be knowledgeable of what's going on in the world around you. You have to be able to relatable to different people, because on the other side of that mic, oh my God, there are people from every walk of life, different nationalities, ethnicities, different races, different religious backgrounds, different socioeconomic backgrounds. And if you're not relatable, or if you're not giving them what they want, they're not necessarily going to bond with you, if you will. And then it just doesn't work. It's not a good mix.
And that's interesting. That's an interesting choice of words, bond with, because you don't see your audience that often. I mean, here's the crazy thing. You are there in every facet of their lives. Yes. Dinner, first date, at work. So there is truly an invisible bond that's happening the whole time. Yes. Yeah.
And sometimes I'm on the air 5 days a week, 5 hours a day. So that's 25 hours. I'm with my listeners more than I am my own family.
Yes.
So they are my family. When I say, I love you, Chicago, at the end of my show, I mean that thing, because they are my brothers, they are my sisters, they are my aunties, my uncles, my grandmothers, my grandfather. I don't know if people realize that, but I spend more time with my listening audience than I do my own family. Yeah. So they are family for real. I don't just say that. Like, my radio listening audience is truly family.
Wow. I love that. And I love being able to communicate with our audience so they get an opportunity to know a little bit more about you outside of, work. And that's one reason why I really am thrilled that this podcast is doing so well, is because we talk about so many things outside of radio, and it just, illuminates how talented we are in many different areas, how much fun we are. It just, those things that we don't even have a reason to talk about on the radio, we have an opportunity to talk about here. And it's just a wonderful bonding opportunity for not only Black women in radio, but for people who listen to us and adore what we do. So this is exciting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you for this platform. This is great.
Oh, thank you so much. You've been so supportive of it, and I so appreciate it. You and so many other women. I don't know if you know it or not, but we launched Black Women in Radio International. We did.
That's
yes. That is
congratulations. Oh, that's dope.
Talking about traveling, just I love it. I love it. I can't wait to do some visiting.
Yeah, good for you. Well, I used to have a show in Bermuda, on the island of Bermuda. My show aired there, and then also Cayman Islands. So I love the whole international piece. Yes. Yeah.
And see, I didn't know that about you. And now you are part of Black Women in Radio International. Having had that platform. I love that. Yeah. I love that. I talked to a young lady, her name is Karina White. She's a part of Black Dope Moms in London.
Yes.
It's a podcast, but it's a group of 5 professional women who they do a little bit of everything. Karina is actually one who is a sports agent in London. And then there are, and there are some radio presenters. They call themselves presenters as opposed to radio personalities. Yeah. So, I mean, even with that, we're learning, a lot about each other. So I am just so thrilled to be able to add you in the mix. I went to Bermuda one time. I adored it. How long?
I love it.
How long were you there?
I was on the air there now the show came out of the States though, it aired there. And then I would travel there like every other month, just to host parties and meet and greet the people who listened. I was there about 4 or 5 years. Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
And the Cayman Islands, about a year or so. For the Cayman Islands. Yeah, great experience. Wow. I mean, it's just so good. And people on the islands, they are so friendly. I felt like the love that I got from them, I felt like I was Beyonce for real. Beyonce knows Beyonce, not Beyonce Foxx. The moment the plane landed, I mean, they're there to greet you. And I mean, it was just an amazing experience. The culture is it's so different. It's awesome. And to this day, I still have tons of friends over there and I visit. So I love it. Yeah, Bermuda's great.
That is so cool. That is so cool. I was there on a vacay and for the first time saw pink sand.
Yes. It's really pink.
It's really pink. A beautiful shade of pink. Yes. Unbelievable. Wow. See, that's why we're doing what we're doing. I never would have known that. And you would have had a reason really to talk about it, on a day-to-day.
Right.
Tell me about your dreams now. What is it that you would like to see yourself do from this point on?
Well, one of my goals is to get into college to get my doctorate degree. I've been wanting to do that for a while now, so I'm going to put the wheels in motion to make that happen. Gosh, I have so many dreams and goals, Felicia. I have a whole list. I really do.
Well, you know what? With a doctorate, you're going to be pretty busy.
Yeah,
that is a huge commitment. True. Yeah,
it is. It really is. Years long. But, I'll just pace myself, take my time and do it. I've always had a dream of an etiquette school for young girls. Teach etiquette. And I don't know, that's just a vision that I have, and I've had it for several years, and it keeps coming up. So I'm thinking I perhaps will probably need to start doing some work on that as well. There's just so many different things that I'm interested in doing. Helping the community. I wish I had a ton of money. I would build a ton of small houses for those who are homeless. Every day that I go to work or go, visit my parents or something, I have to pass people who are hungry or people who are homeless, people who just need money just to find somewhere to sleep for the night. So I just wish that there was a way I could receive some sort of grant or something where I could just build communities, just tons of communities of homes so that people can have shelter at night. I wish there were ways that I can just have a bunch of money so that, we can just give food. I do volunteer for an organization. It's called Top Box Foods, and that provides foods to areas that are food deserts where there are no grocery stores, no nutritional value in the food whatsoever. You just find stores and quick convenience stores where you can go in and get some chips and a soda.
Yeah.
So I do volunteer for an organization, and I do deliver food to people once or twice a month. So I do help in that regard, but sometimes I just want to do so much more to help people.
I can't even believe that we live in America where all of that is needed. Basic means of survival, it should be provided for. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart. Even here in Atlanta, the homeless population has exploded. And what I was used to seeing, in Chicago with, people setting up homes at, under the underpass of the highway or whatever. We see that here in Atlanta now. And I'm like, what is it that we can do as a human race to take better care of our brothers and sisters? Because it is just, I just can't believe we live in a world like that. And then the whole racism thing, can't believe we live in a world like that either. Because I'm in my head, naive me, I'm thinking that we're making strides, which we have. We're making strides, but not in the way that I thought we.
No, not in the way that I thought either. It's like we're reversing.
Yes,
you know what I mean?
That's the feeling.
We're reversing. I mean, there's another instance on video where a police officer has his knee on the neck of a Black man again. I mean, that just happened again. And I'm not understanding what's going on. And it's sad that around and you go somewhere and you look for places to eat and you're like, ooh, are there any Black people in there? Let me check and see if there's any Black people before I go in. There is no way in the world in 2020 that question should be asked. It's sad. It's sad. It's really sad that we're going backwards.
Tell me, well, you're very spiritual, so I have a hunch as to what you're going to say, but I just want you to say it. How are you handling all of this negative news that we're getting that's hitting us personally, hitting us emotionally and spiritually in such an impactful way that it's hard to shake? How are you managing this time? Because this is a very trying time to be, upbeat and positive, Beyonce, when you yourself, are feeling the vibrations of this negative energy. How are you handling that?
You said it. With my spirituality, I'm just going to say faith, one word. It's faith, I trust in the Lord, and I trust that He has everything in control. That's all I can say. Don't get me wrong. I do get sad. I do get very emotional. I get angry. I get hurt when I turn on the news every day and I see that a child has been killed. And then the next day, another child has been killed, and so on and so forth. And not only just a child, people in general. Nobody should be killed by gun violence. I try to do the best that I can in the community by helping, but it's bigger than me. It takes a village. It takes a bunch of us to come together and make this thing happen. But at the end of the day, I just put it in the hands of the Lord, because I know He is the one who is ultimately in control.
Yeah. In control, because I know I had a come to Jesus meeting a few times during quarantine. It's like, what are you doing? Are you sure this is right? You
Yeah.
got the whole world on shutdown, and then
Yeah.
with the racism thing, I'm like, I just felt shaken out of deep sleep. I'll put it that way. That's how it felt, because it's like, this is the real life that you live in, not the one that you were thinking that you were living in. And part of that is because we've all stopped, and now we're paying attention, because before we were kind of, I think, just conditioned to know that there's another shooting, or there's another Black man, apprehended by the police and was handled aggressively. And we're just conditioned to just keep going along to get along, because our own personal lives were, moving along. But now with everything on time out, we have really gotten a reality check.
And it's just amazing how all of this happens together at once. You know what I mean? It was almost like God had, and again, not to keep going to the religious route, but it's almost like God was like, look, too much is going on. I need to stop things right now so you people can wake up and see what's going on.
Really going on. Yep. And I really believe it took us standing still in time with this whole quarantine to get it, because, and I simply say that because the news has been the same for decades.
Pretty much. Yeah.
We have people in our lives, or in our outer circles, or even inner circles, who may have been incarcerated, or we've had experiences ourselves with police, and it's like, oh, well, that was that one isolated incident. But it's been going a long time. We've just been blinded by it,
and unfortunately, it's going to continue to go on. Unfortunately, as we've seen in recent days, like I said, there was just another instance of a police officer with his knee on the neck of a Black man.
Like, did you not see the news over the last, and the marching, and
that's what I don't understand. That's the part that I don't understand, when it's so blatant that you just don't care. That's a problem. And the reason why it's so evident now is because of the videos that are being snapped. It has nothing to do with, oh my God, they're going out of control now. No, it's been out of control. But technology now will, not necessarily put an end to it, because obviously people are still doing it, knowing that there are cameras everywhere. But yeah, this is something that's just been going on for years. And unfortunately, I think it'll continue to go on. It's sad.
Until we get it collectively, because like you said, it's not going to be enough for one or two of us to want change. It's going to have to be a collective change in order to make change. And how do you think, because there is so much anger and resentment and pain and trauma in the Black community, and those of well, I'll just stay there, in the Black community, what is it that we need to do in order to get to our brothers and sisters who are not getting it? Both sides at the same time.
Yeah, I know.
But because what is it that we're missing?
We have to change the narrative. I know systemic racism has been around for years and years and years, but we have to change the narrative about ourselves as a people. You know what I mean? Yes, we have to come together. We have to love each other. There's so much division within our own race that when other races are looking at us, they're like, oh, well, so if they can't get it together amongst themselves, why are we going to help them get it together? Or why are we, concerned that they're killing each other? It's a touchy situation. It's a touchy subject, but it's one that needs to be discussed, because it is what it is. It is what it is. We have to mentor, we have to grab 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 people and mentor them. And these are all things that I'm doing. But again, it has to be more than one person.
It
If you
has
take a
to.
room of 50 people and those 50 people each grab about 5 students that they can call here and there, maybe, you know, pull up on them, take them out to eat or something like that, and kind of mentor, that's now 150 people, 250 people, 350, you know what I mean? And then it continues to grow and expand. We can't just talk. We have to actually put things into action in order for them to work.
Yeah, yeah.
Period.
And that's true, because if that were the case when civil rights of the 60s happened, we would be in much better shape than we are right now, because we would have been mentoring each other through the 60s and 70s up to now, and we wouldn't feel this shock of, oh my God, nothing's changed.
Exactly.
So this is going to be the long game. This is not going to be something that just goes away. This is going to be the long game. And then there's so many areas to pay attention to. There's education.
Yes.
I mean, my girls are 21 and 25, but I mean, I have nieces with children who are going to school that are really stressed out and trying to figure out, do I allow my child to go to daycare? Do I allow my child to go to school in fall semester? And I just cannot imagine the stress level, you know, that people are feeling day in and day out, simply with something as easy 6 months ago as, is your child going to school? Heck yeah, they're going to school.
Exactly. Now it's like, I don't know, you know? Yeah. And that's another thing. Education, that's like the key. You know what I mean? Knowledge is power. And with power comes success. You don't necessarily have to have success all the time, but knowledge, that's the one thing that no one can ever take away from you. Once you learn, no one can strip you of that at all. That's a very powerful tool to have. Education. So I wholeheartedly agree on that. Again, I think the mentorship piece, that is just critical right now for our brothers and sisters to take younger people, and not even necessarily younger people. I have mentees that are full-fledged adults. Sometimes
Which
you
is
just
important.
sometimes you just need a little direction, a little encouragement. It's not like, oh, you know, I don't have time for you, or I'm put you by the wayside. You're grown. You should know better. It's not even that. Sometimes adults need a little help, a little mentoring themselves. So
absolutely,
it is what it is. And I just encourage everyone to grab a few people to mentor, you know, even if it's a conversation on the phone. Like I said, it doesn't take a lot to mentor somebody.
Well, let me just say, you are mentoring as well here on this platform. So, you know, on Black Women in Radio. So that, I mean, that too can be added to, you know, what you've already been doing. And if it were not for the podcast, I wouldn't have known that you were a mentor for Kiki.
Oh, yes, Kiki. I love Kiki. Oh, my gosh. Kiki.
That girl is adorable woman.
Such a sweetheart.
She
is such a sweetheart. I look up to her. She's like the bomb. Like, she really is such a sweetie. I used to teach radio at one of the broadcasting schools here in the Chicagoland area, and she was a student. Little did I know how life comes back around. Now she and I are working on sister stations.
That is hilarious.
It's just amazing. Yeah, as on-air hosts. It's just amazing how life works. You know what I mean? So, yeah, mentorship is just so important. And you never know. Sometimes you're blindly mentoring someone. You may not even realize you're mentoring someone because people are watching and they're listening. So that's very important. And that goes back to the piece of protecting your brand and making sure that everything that you're doing is pretty much on the up and up, because people do watch and listen.
Well, I will tell you, I know one person that you've mentored, and she speaks so highly of you. Kiki just went on with our interview on Black Women in Radio. If you have an opportunity, check it out. She spoke so highly of you, and it just warmed my heart.
And when I got to broadcasting school, I walked in, and Beyonce Foxx was my teacher, and she was the midday.
I love Beyonce.
Yeah, yes,
oh,
Beyonce
cool.
is amazing. She was the midday personality on WGCI, so I was like, oh my God, this is destiny. Like, there's no way I'm not going to work here. And she just was telling us on like the first day of class, she was like, you know, you're going to do this and you're going to learn this, and then you're going to go and get you an internship. And I was like, oh, internship. And so I was like, I'm going to start looking for internships now.
Love her. She's amazing. She works in digital. Kiki is awesome on the air. Her personality just shines right through the airwaves. She's gorgeous. Her spirit, I mean, everything about her tends across the board. So I love her. She's great. Really be on the look for Miss Kiki, y'all.
I know, right? I know.
Yes.
She is adorable. So you're a great mentor. You're a great mentor. Let me ask you, as far as your doctorate degree, will you maybe teach? Do you think you might?
Yeah, I think eventually. I don't plan on being on the airwaves until I'm like 90 or anything like that. I don't even know if that's possible for women in radio. I'm just saying. I'm not sure.
I don't know too many.
I don't know too many women that make it that far. Men do, but I don't know about women. But maybe I can be the first. Who knows?
Right? Who knows?
But yeah, I love teaching. Yeah, I do like to teach. I really, really do. Again, knowledge is power, and I like instilling knowledge in others. So that is absolutely an option. Yes.
I got a chance to teach at Spelman for 7 years. I had a little hiatus in radio and had an opportunity to teach there, and I absolutely adored that experience. But again, now with COVID and all of this that we're dealing with, what is that going to look like? Nobody really has a clear-cut answer. So what I want to know from you is, would you teach online as well?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. As a matter of fact, my alma mater, where I got my master's, they just announced on the news the other day that they're going virtual this fall. There will be no in-class sessions. So that is the new norm, I'm thinking.
That is the new norm.
There were already online classes anyway that are part of the curriculum. So to have a lot of classes online, it's really not that difficult because there was already that option long before the pandemic of online classes. So
that's right. We'll miss that sense of community on campus. I'm not sure how we'd be able to recreate that, but there are a lot of Ivy League schools that have online classes. As a matter of fact, there is, I don't know if you're aware of this, there is a website that you can go to and take just one course anywhere you want to. Harvard, Princeton, Columbia, everybody's on, well, not everybody, but there are a lot of Ivy League schools online. So I'll leave the URL, with this podcast, so that if people are interested, they can do it. But it's a free course, and some of them are 2-week courses, some are 6-week courses. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, just to say you got a certification or something from Harvard, darling, or Princeton.
See? Exactly. That works. That works for me. As a matter of fact, I hadn't figured out which one I wanted to do just yet. I was leaning toward women's studies because there's a big project that I'm working on for Black women in radio. So I'm with you. Knowledge is power. I'm a researcher. I'll dig in before I open in my mouth. So I may take one of those classes. Before you go, there's 2 things. I want to know your favorite travel spot.
Okay.
Or most unique travel spot. I'll put it that way because I know that some of us have favorite travel spots we don't want everybody to know about.
True.
So I would take you off the hook and say your most unique travel spots. And then I want to do word of association with you. Okay.
Let's see. Gosh, I have to think about that. That's a good question. I'm going to say probably Dubai.
Oh,
I loved Dubai. I was just there fall before last for my friend who got married there. And when I tell you, it's just so eclectic. It's just a combination of things. You have the beautiful water, the beaches, but then you've got this huge metropolis, this bustling life. And then you have the largest mall in the world. So that was one of the reasons. And when I tell you, Felicia, a sister was hyperventilating knowing that was the largest mall on planet Earth.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah.
My heart sings when I go to the mall. I tell you, it does.
Yeah. I love it. It has a lot of history. I went to the souks downtown in the old part of Dubai, and they still have the merchants out there selling their wares and their goods. And then I went to the mall, and you have the stores like the Gucci's and the Louis Vuittons and the whatever. So it was a nice mix of old and new, and the beautiful homes and the culture. Oh, it was amazing. I love Dubai. It's like Las Vegas on steroids.
That is, I cannot even imagine. That is hilarious. Mm-hmm. Now, what about the food? I'm a foodie. So did you taste anything original? Did you like it?
You know what? I'm not a big experimenter because I'm a pescatarian. Okay. So there's a lot of stuff, like if I don't know what's in there, I'm not going to just eat it. Right. But I played it safe. Let's put it that way. I played it safe. Yeah.
So
with
fish and veggies. And,
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I kept it Americanized, if you will. Yeah.
What was that plane ride like?
Ooh, grueling. Because I am hyper and it's hard for me to sit still. 13 hours though. But you know what? I love to travel long distances because I look out that window and I just meditate on life.
Yes, I do too.
And I look at the clouds and I really get in tune with myself, and I come up with things that I'm going to do in the next year or two, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. I think of family. I just, I reflect on my life when I'm on the plane, and, I have my soothing music, and you're just up there in the clouds and you're closer to God. And it's a great feeling. It's awesome.
I love flying. I do. And I'm in the same headspace when I fly. Yeah.
Yes. Peaceful.
Mm-hmm. Well, is there anything else you'd like to share with us? I tell you, I say that these shows are an hour long, but sometimes, man, it's like I could go forever and ever. And I have to remind myself, be respectful of time. But oh my goodness, thank you so much. Let me just say, I've got more questions, but I'm gonna have to ask you back.
Okay, no problem. No problem, Felicia. I will come back for you anytime. I just want to thank you for having this awesome platform. I see your posts all the time on Instagram, and you're featuring different women in radio. I just think that is so awesome. And when you feature someone, I'll go and I'll follow them. You know what I mean? So it's a great networking tool. It's genius of what you're doing. So thank you for this opportunity. I really appreciate you.
Oh, thank you so much. That warms my heart. That makes it, so well worth it, because when you're working on projects that that's new to you and the people that you're trying to attract, there's a area where you have to prove yourself. You have to prove your values first, and then you have to prove quality. And to hear my sisters come back and say, hey, yeah, good job.
Oh, yeah.
Warms my heart. I can't wait till, we're in the becoming of a new norm. Post-COVID. So happening. That we can get back to, socializing, because there are so many different things that we can do together. And I'm looking forward to that.
Yes, it's going to happen. It's going to happen soon.
Oh, please, Lord.
I know. Please.
Well, I am going to ask you to do our word association game. Are you ready?
Okay. I think so.
This has been so much fun. I have been able to get some suggestions from other Black women in radio. And man, if you have one, please let me know that you want me to add to this list. R&B or hip hop?
Both. Sorry.
All of it in the mix. I know.
Yeah, I play R&B every day. I love R&B. That's such good music. Hip hop is still in the heart. Hip hop. Both.
I know. I feel it too. Somebody were to ask me this question, I'd be
both. It's so hard. Both. Yes.
Sports car or luxury car or SUV?
SUV.
Mornings or afternoons? That's from Tammy Mack.
Mornings.
Religious or spiritual?
Both. Again, both.
Yeah. Beach or mountains?
Mountains.
Fiction or nonfiction?
Nonfiction.
Steak or sushi?
Neither.
Neither? Even, when I said that, I thought, well, she said she's pescatarian. So
I'll do sushi because sometimes, okay, it would be sushi. Yeah. But,
yeah, that's,
yeah.
Look, I'm editing in my head. Stop it.
Sushi. Yeah. Sushi.
Okay. Let's see, heels or flip-flops?
Heels.
Wine or shots? That's what I have. I was thinking margaritas. I'm still self-editing.
Wine.
That is so funny.
Wine.
Oh man. Okay. Do you have one you want to add to our list here? Anything. If something pops to your mind, you can text it to me.
Okay, I'll do that.
You can text it to me if you think of something. Wow.
Okay.
Well, thanks so much for playing the game with me, and thanks so much for being a part of this community and for supporting it and just for being an absolute divine light, because I have had an opportunity to meet you in person and I walked away with an impression of having met a spiritual friend. So thank you so much for being who you are, because you're really a spectacular person to get to meet.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Felicia. And back at you. And again, thank you for even inviting me to be on this awesome platform. Keep up the great work, and I hope to see you soon.
All right, dear. Have a wonderful day, and thanks again for spending some time with us.
You got it. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Be careful as you exit your VIP seats. They will be waiting for you next Wednesday when we talk to the Black Women in Radio Women in Charge panel discussion featuring Pat Prescott, Big Sue, First Lady Joyce Littell, Danielle Johnson, Angela Green, and me, Felicia Love. Make sure you subscribe to Black Women in Radio podcast on all social media and check out our website at www.blackwomeninradio.com.